What is the best looking EV currently available on the market? Some might say it is this. This is the brand new Mazda 6e, 100% electric. It's nearly 5 meters long, it's a coupe and a hatchback, it's got it all. So let's review it, let's test it, let's try it out, because you're watching Totally Electric. The Mazda 6 is available in two trims. There's this one, which is the LFP version, the standard range. It's got 68.8 kilowatt hours of battery. It's got 479 kilometers of WLTP range. Furthermore, it charges at 165 kilowatts, so it should be relatively good for road tripping. By the way, in this video, you'll later on find our range test and our charging test. Now, if you need a little bit more range, there's also the nickel, cobalt and manganese version of the battery, which has got 80 kilowatt hours, so a little bit bigger, but it's got only 50 kilometers more of range. And also, it charges at only 90 kilowatts. And it's got less power. This one's got 258 horsepower, the other one's got 245. So honestly, if this can get enough range on the highway, then this is the version to get, because the other one seems a bit nerfed, doesn't it? Now, one of the biggest advantages about the Mazda 6e is the price point. It starts at only 40,000 euros, and that's before any government incentives, which means that this here, even though it's 5 meters long, is as cheap as a Model 3. But just because it isn't a lot of money doesn't mean that it's cheap. It's full of features and it's very nicely built. So we've got this extensible spoiler which can electronically be operated, or it can come out automatically when you're above 90 kilometers an hour. We've also got a massive boot. 466 liters of space in here, and if that's not enough, we've got another 77 in the front. We've also got self-presenting door handles. We've got an interior with Nappa leather, with seats that pull themselves back to let you in. We've got interior LED lighting. We've got two-tone interior, two massive screens, a heads-up display. I love this car. But before I get too excited about it, let's check out if it's any good at traveling, because this is the LFP standard range, the one that charges fast. And if we can't really do a highway trip, then who cares about how fast it charges? Let's do a range and a charging test right now. So let's do a range test of the Mazda 6e. This is the LFP version, the one with 68.8 kilowatt hours of battery. We can do, according to the WLTP standard, 479 kilometers, but that's not the same as highway testing, and we're doing highway testing. We've got the highway right here behind me. We've got 98% of battery. Let's go and see how far we can go in the Mazda 6e. So Mazda's driving philosophy is called Jinba Itai. Loosely translated from Japanese, and it's not because I speak Japanese, it's because I looked this up. It means something like horse and rider in one, or horse and rider together. The basic idea being that the car should not just be its own machine, it should be an extension of what you really want. And the way that they do it specifically with this vehicle is putting 250 horsepower to the rear end and just giving you a steering that's precise yet adaptable. So we've got two different settings for the steering. I'm actually driving it with the sporty steering, so it's supposed to be a little bit tougher, a little bit more rigid. You know, it's really pleasant to go around a curve in this one. It's just nice and smooth. I do feel that Jinba Itai is a concept that applies even better to electric vehicles than it actually does to a gasoline-powered car, because with an electric vehicle, I got all the power I need as soon as I put my foot down. I've got regenerative braking that I can adjust here with the click of a button on the steering wheel. So as soon as I let off the accelerator, the car starts to slow down. I just feel that an electric car, and specifically this Mazda 6, just responds better to what I actually want. I don't have to find the right gear, get the engine up to a certain amount of revolutions before I can actually get full power. I just want to go so I go. Now I understand that people might derive a lot of pleasure from, all sorts of manual labor around the driving task. However, if you think about it, Jinbaitai, where you just want to be one with the machine, electric is much better for that. Okay, so let's see how well this system does in helping me to actually get to my destination. Do take into account that I'm in the version with the smaller battery. It's got 68.8 kilowatt hours of battery. There's an NCM version which has got upwards of 80 kilowatt hours. But I think this is actually the one to get because the charge is faster. And you know what? LFP, nearly 70 kilowatt hours should be plenty and good enough for traveling, right? So let's see, I'm close to Madrid right now, so let's plan a route to Barcelona. I'm just going to put that in the GPS system. Right, a big red message saying I'm not going to get there. There's 432 kilometers to Barcelona from where I am, but there's a button here that says add chargers. Now I've configured the system that I don't need more than 10% in my destination, and I've also set which charging networks I would like to use. I've configured 5 or 6 of them that I know are reliable, and it plans a route for me. And the route goes from where I am. I have to drive another 257 kilometers, where I'll get to a Winia charging station. And there, I'll get there with only 4% of battery. Yeah, it's tight, but it's good. I like to get to the chargers with not a lot of energy, because then I'll get the full benefit of this charging speed. I'll charge there for 20 minutes, or 19 in this case, and then I'll continue when I get to 49% of battery. And then after that, I'll get to Barcelona with 10% battery, just as I've configured. So even though this here is the small battery with the LFP, the cheap battery, and the one that's supposed to be standard range, not even the long range, from Madrid to Barcelona, which is about 600 kilometers in total, all I need is one stop of 20 minutes. Honestly, this is the version to get. This is the good one, and I'm, thoroughly pleased that Mazda has taken the entry-level version and made that the one to get. So yeah, this is perfectly good for traveling. Now, I do only have 59% battery left, so I should be thinking about turning around soon if I want to get back to my home, and I do want to get back. Still driving, and it's been like more than 3 hours. I've done 340 kilometers, and I really need to make a stop. It might have this small battery, but this small battery is bigger than my bladder, that is for sure. I've got another 15 minutes to go, and then I'll arrive at the charger. According to this, I'm going to get there with 4 to 5%. I think it'll be a slight bit more, because it's all downhill from here. At least that's what I expect. Let's see if we actually get there. So 340 kilometers left now. Still got 12% energy on the battery. I've arrived at my charger. It's right over there. Now we're going to test charging. But before that, so I've done 362.7 kilometers. I've still got 8% left on the battery, and I left with 98%. So I got to add another 10% on top of that. So 362 plus 36.2 is 398. Well, let's just call it 400. I can round up 2 kilometers, right? That's fair game, just to make the math a bit easier. 400 kilometers on the standard range battery. And I was doing highway driving at highway speeds. I haven't slowed down. I haven't done any driving behind trucks. I haven't done any of that. I've done my driving as it's supposed to be. And with the standard range battery, I get 400 real kilometers out of this thing. That is amazing. And that is why a sedan is so much better than an SUV when it's electric. So 400 kilometers on the standard range battery. Why do you want the bigger battery? Does your bladder last more than 400 kilometers? Mine certainly does not. In fact, I'm talking a bit quickly here because I am jiggly in my seat. Now, we're going to do the charging. So, 17 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Let's see how fast we can charge this thing up again. We're at 8%. It's a good time to charge. I've just plugged into this 360 kilowatt charger from Thunder, and as you can see, the charge port is at the rear right side. Excellent location, actually. Now, it's supposed to be doing 165, I think, at maximum charge, and it straight up jumped right up to do 160, well, 4. That's all right. It went straight from 0 to 160 just in one go, because the battery is preheated. Yes, the Mazda 6 has preheating on the battery. I didn't have to do anything, just, setting the charger as the destination, and automatically it preheated the battery. By the way, there's a truck there, and it's plugged in. That's an electric truck, but it has finished charging. We've just now reached 17 kilowatt hours, and it's taken us exactly 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So if you want to stop and just charge another 100 kilometers in the Mazda 6, that is exactly 6 minutes and 30 seconds. It's not too bad. Oh, we're there. 34.5. So I went a little bit over 34 kilowatt hours in 14 minutes. 14 minutes to charge up 200 kilometers on the standard range. Excellent. Excellent. So you can do 400 kilometers, charge for 15 minutes, and do another 200 kilometers, no problem. This is a fantastic car for traveling. Driving the Mazda 6e is a serene experience. It is absolutely a luxury sedan, well, coupe hatchback kind of thing, but it is absolutely this luxury feel where I'm very isolated from the exterior. I've got sort of semi-soft suspension. I've got different driving modes. I've put it on personalized or customized so I can have it in sport, but I also can change manually the amount of engine regeneration. I have mapped that to one of the custom buttons on the steering wheel. With that, I can now drive in the city, going over humps and everything, and no problem there. Or I can alternatively go on the highway or these back roads and have a bit of fun. Rear wheel drive at 253 horsepower. That's a good recipe for having some fun, isn't it? Yet when I throw it into a corner, it does not wobble, but it does balance a bit. It's not this most firm of rides. It is absolutely, a luxury sedan, not a sport sedan in that sense. Oh, by the way, I also have a rear spoiler I can activate or deactivate. Very nice. Steering is precise, especially when I've mapped it out to be firm, as in sport mode or my custom settings here. And since all the power goes to the back wheels, I got no problem with wheel spin or keeping the power, 100% on the asphalt when I go through a curve. It is a fun car to drive. Now, it is not a perfect. I do find that the ADAS system is a bit intrusive even when turned off. If I do step on the line, it will jiggle the steering wheel and push me back in, which can sometimes be slightly annoying. So I have turned that feature off here on the main screen before started to drive. But overall, it's quiet, it's comfortable. It's just such a nice place to be. And in a world where every new car we test drive nowadays is basically an SUV, it is nice to have a coupe. Even if it's a long 5-meter coupe to try. It's a very comfortable space to be in. It's like sitting in a lounge, or maybe even in my sofa at home. So, conclusion. If you're looking for a nice hatchback sedan coupe, nearly 5 meters long, at a decent price, that can travel, that can charge quickly, good all-rounder, nice to drive, safe and family friendly, this Mazda might just be it. If you've enjoyed this video, I would very much appreciate a subscription. Thank you very much to those of you who have already subscribed. I'll see you again very soon with another car review of another electric vehicle right here on Totally Electric.